And we are Cassandra. We come to this day in love and delight and in truth. Is this acceptable to you?
Yes.
Good. So we are understanding the reason for this communication is something that we have asked for, to communicate with many. Instead of doing a group, let's say, we are just wanting to communicate a few things. All right?
Yes.
Okay. So there are have been many predictions of tidal wave, yeah? And what we have said all along is it's a wave of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And that wave of consciousness is, when you think about the first wave that we've spoken about before, the first wave of those that are awakened, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And they are those that started anything from earlier than 20 years ago to, let's say, that would have started 2000, 2020, maybe 2006, the latest,
Mm-hmm.
yeah? And then after that, after 2012 starts the second wave.
Mm-hmm.
So the second wave, as we've spoken about before, is far greater than the first. The first is only 1%
Mm-hmm.
of the world's population, and then after that you're looking at 60. So that's a very big percentage of the world's population, and the majority of them are starseeds.
Mm-hmm.
So they have always felt that way. They just, felt they're different, felt that they were here for a reason, etc. They just didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just had this inner knowing. So they were already in touch with their own inner knowing. And what is happening to those people is that they are suddenly, for a lot of them, suddenly realizing that they are clairsentient, clairaudient, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Clairvoyant or telepaths. And that is creating some levels of anxiety. So you're seeing a lot of people with high levels of anxiety at the moment. And part of that anxiety is also related to what your systems are doing to stop light codes from hitting the planet from the sun. So there is a light force that has been travelling through this universe that you're currently in, and it has hit the sun. And the sun's rays are actually bringing through the light codes from that force down onto planet Earth. And your government systems, along with the negative starseeds that they work with, are doing everything to prevent the sun's codes, those light codes, from hitting your bodies, your knowingness. And they're doing it through chemtrails, through fluoride in the water, through chemicals in your vaccines, forced vaccines, chemicals in your food, chemicals in your water, chemicals in your air. So you will see that most of the sky in most places on the planet are covered in grey matter, chemtrails. And these chemtrails are deflecting those rays or those light codes from hitting you. And that is causing also a bit of depression, let's say, because your souls, the timing is correct, your souls are awakening, but what you're being greeted with is the depression of that energy and that own inner knowing. And that is also happening through connecting with your computers, your phones, these little iPads. All technology is of a certain frequency. And we spoke about this, that the inside each technology, the computer chip is made from a crystal, which gives it a certain vibration of love force. So it can actually resonate with you and be in harmony with you. But the programs that are placed in it and the vehicles in which the information travels, so we're talking about Wi-Fi here, or the travelling of telephone information or television, what have you, those rays in which they travel, frequencies in which they travel upon, are not compatible to your soul's frequency or that of your body's, because it's not bioenergetic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's say, we spoke about this before. In each dimension is planes of existence. And in those planes of existence runs frequencies, sound waves, light waves, yeah? Sound and light waves that allow images and sound to travel. So radio waves, television waves, you get what we mean by this. So when you're looking at the third and the fourth dimension, which has duality, then those waves have created within their system internet, computers, lots of technology. But that duality is not compatible in some ways to the essence of your soul. Because your soul is not in duality, is it? You choose to come into a lifetime as male or female, but your soul is a combination of both. It's really neither, right?
Yeah.
So your soul is a combination of sound, colour, light, and it has its own imprint. So that is awakening due to some of those light codes coming through to certain people who are then voicing that information, and they're activating that information in the people around them through healing or words or just being. Like we were saying before, you can easily just be yourself in your own light and activate the light codes in the people around you.
Yes.
Right? That's absolutely true. And that's what's happening, which is why that second wave is 60% of the world's population.
And you said also that the government systems try to prevent the light to come on the planet.
That's right. They are working with the, let's say, the negative starseeds who want the planet to remain in duality.
Yes.
So they can continue to exist. Which is why you're seeing duality show up so strongly. Look at your political arena.
Yeah.
You have the right and the left, but the right and the left are both wrong and they're both right.
Yes.
You know, so it's what's in the middle that is unity consciousness, right? So you will also see a big, how can we say, separation happening between men and women. How many relationships are you witnessing breaking up?
Yeah, a lot.
And how many are you witnessing of men becoming extremely aggressive towards women? In every arena. In the political arena, it's getting quite nasty. In the private arena, it is extremely... The domestic violence and rape against women has increased in some countries 800-fold. That's a huge amount. And in some countries, even in countries like Australia and America, you have judges saying publicly that if you are raped by an acquaintance, meaning someone you know, it's not really rape. So someone you knew from a cafe, let's say, that you've had a few cups of coffee with and they've invited you out, they rape you and it's not really rape because, you know, etc.
You knew. Yeah.
Yeah, because you knew the person, so therefore it's not as bad. Any rape is bad.
Yeah.
Whether it's against an animal, and you're seeing a lot more of that, a child, well, that's extremely prevalent at the moment, or a woman. So this aggression of the male is becoming more amplified. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Wonder why that would be. Could it be that these machines that you're all using are resonating a frequency that is activating anger?
Yep.
How many times do you get frustrated with your computer, with your phone? Things aren't happening instantaneously. You're angry, you're annoyed.
Sure.
Right? So it provokes anger because it is in disharmony with your body and soul. So let's look at this. It's quite interesting because your physical body and your soul have also been in duality, haven't they? They've been in separation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what did you used to do? You used to sit and meditate sometimes for hours to reach a higher plane of existence to get information. Now you can get the information instantly through your own inner knowing. You can download immediately. Why don't you? You don't, because you're too fixated and disconnected from your soul through these machines, through the lack of nature. Yeah? Through the lack of unity between the two. So separation has become a very, very big commodity.
Yeah.
Yeah? It's something that many big businesses have invested billions, even trillions in. Look at war. What does that create? Separation. Not just separation of countries, but separation of man to his soul. What man would justify killing and raping because it's done under the guise of war, or taking slaves because it's done under the guise of war? So it's justified. That is a clear and precise separation from one's soul. So what is being, can we say, pushed on the planet, activated on the planet, is separation. And those of you that are awakened or awakening, it is very important for you not to buy into it. And we've spoken about this so many times. When you see something negative and you want to get angry about it, don't. Because that anger is only amplifying that negativity and creating more separation. So you can be an advocate against it and say no to it, or sign a petition, or join a group. Yes, you can. That's a positive thing to do, to vote against it. Very positive thing to do. But to join with it is another thing altogether. So unity consciousness is actually growing. And what's happening is all of these beautiful lights, these beautiful souls, are starting to listen, feel, hear, and speak the truth. They're starting to disconnect from separation and connect to unity, to being at one with themselves, regardless of how much separation they've experienced in the past. People are asking for a different way. They are wanting to connect. They're wanting to feel loved. They're wanting to feel respected, heard, honoured. And, you know, you have enough resources on the planet and enough intelligence on the planet to actually be able to co-create that every living being, not just people, but every living being on the planet would work in cohesion with each other and all be fed, be housed, have their ambitions. Just for a moment, consider if you had the opportunity to be fed, to be housed, to be content, would you then want to destroy another person's home? Would you then want to go into competition with another country, with another business? Would you want to destroy that business because you wanted to take it over?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, that's right. Would you want to discredit someone if you felt fulfilled in your own life? You see, some people who are artistic, creative, will want, or travelers, they will want to travel the world. They'll want to meet different people, different flavours. They will want to succeed in sharing their knowledge and their creations, or their buildings, or their food, whatever. They will want to do that, and why not allow them to? But there will be also many that won't want to. They want to just be an existence that has kindness, that they get up in the morning and they have food, that they have nice neighbours that they're not in conflict with, that they can love their children and allow them to go to school without them being, beaten or raped on the way there, kidnapped or killed. Right? Most people want to live in the existence of peace and harmony. The difficulty is that those that are governing you don't want unity consciousness. They want duality to exist. So our plea to you is this. Every person you look at, see them as a soul, and not as a gender, or a religion, or, a race. See them as a soul. Now, there is conflict in the fact that many of them will not want to see you like that. So, say for instance, if you're living next door to someone who loves to create problems and fights and live in duality, but you don't want that, it's very difficult for you to be friends with them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't want to be friends. They'll always cause drama. So, what you can do is say it's okay for them to live like that, whatever they want to do, because at some point they will awaken or they'll leave the planet. Right? So, some point that will happen. So, you can easily say, okay, that's my neighbour, they like conflict. So, with awareness, you can see, look, I don't need to go into duality to pull them out of it. I'm here. I'm in unity. I feel very good about my life. I'm not feeling guilty, and we've spoken about this before. Do not feel guilty because your life is good. So, I feel good about my life. I'm happy in myself. I'm connected to spirit. And nature. I don't need to be connected to these people who want to cause war or chaos or bitterness or anger. And stay connected to that, and you can guarantee that those people will get curious. And if your light is not entangled with all the fights that are going on, then it will grow. The moment you get entangled with the fights that are going on, you go into duality, and what you do, you depress your light. That's why there's so much depression. You're in conflict. You are depressing your light. By, you can use these machines, that's not a problem. But, try to align them with your frequency. So use them for good. Use them to connect with people for good. Use them to laugh, to feel joy, to be informed. Use them for that. Harmonize them with your body. Because they have computers, those computer chips are actually crystals. They can actually harmonize with you.
And how do you do that?
Well, you intend it. You sit them all in front of you, you go into meditation, and you ask that they all harmonize with your frequency. So you intend it. You say thank you to them. Yeah? Huh? So, because they keep you connected with people from the other side of the planet. They keep you connected with what you want to do. They can be of service to you. So let them resonate with you, not you with them. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah? So what you're going to see is a rise of more conflict, because more and more people are going to start demanding peace, their rights to be heard, like we were talking about before. They want to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be acknowledged. They want to be seen, and they want peace. And they figure that the only way that they can get it is by being loud enough and strong enough for their government systems to listen. So they can actually vote that government system out. However, as you're seeing, most of the voting systems are rigged.
Yeah.
So if you were to talk to, let's say you had a country town with 500 people, and 400 of those 500 people wanted to vote for the right, but the left got in.
That happens.
It happens a lot, right? Well, that's a bit strange.
Mm.
But there you go. So all of these things that are being exposed at the moment, the whistleblowers, the people who have courage, it takes absolute courage and conviction to spread the truth. To be a truth bearer in this day and age is not easy. People are being killed left, right and centre for telling the truth, exposing the truth. But they will continue to do so because that's the journey they've chosen.
Yeah.
But as light beings, you have chosen this moment in time to stop the duality in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So start getting in contact with your soul and allowing it a presence. Right? When you hear that voice in your head that says, take your spare keys with you, or don't forget to pick up, this connection that you need, or ring such and such. Yeah? When you hear that, do it, because that's your soul speaking to you. When you get the feeling of someone and you ring them and you find out they're in need, that's your soul connecting with that person, saying, ring them, they need you.
Mm-hmm.
So you are listening, you are witnessing that you are becoming one with your soul, which is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness doesn't start outside of you, it starts within you. And a lot of people are thinking, okay, unity consciousness is outside, can't see, it's not happening, a little bit over here, so therefore I'll keep acting like an idiot. Right? That doesn't happen. That's not the truth of it. The truth is it starts with you as an individual. Your connection to yourself, to your body. When your body says, don't eat that, don't do that, don't go there, you have to listen. Because if you don't, you're again creating separation. And then you'll meet more people who are in separation just to remind you to listen. Mm-hmm. Right? So this, a lot of people are saying, okay, let's create, if I create enough abundance, I can live in my own little world and forget about everyone else. That's nice unity consciousness, isn't it? It really doesn't matter about the money. You can be poor, living in dirt, and connect with yourself.
Yeah.
And that is how the planet will shift. It's one person at a time. Mm-hmm. And when you're awakened, you'll awake the people around you. And you already see that. Most of you see that.
Mm-hmm.
And that wave, this year will really begin to awaken. Which means there is lots of change. Now, we're going to go back to, we spoke about the planes of existence in each dimension.
Yeah.
And those planes of existence carry waves, whether there's sound waves, light waves to communicate with, to hear with. Each dimension has frequencies within it, energetic frequencies. And because you've already moved into the fifth, which was in 2012, you will start to see more and more, it's already started, inventions, creations, frequencies, because the fifth dimensional reality has new waves within it that you haven't even begun to utilize. And what it brings with it is new medical advancements. It brings with it new abilities to communicate. Remember we spoke about the holograms?
Yeah.
It's already in existence. All they need to do is figure out how to bring it out big in a big way. Yeah, but it's already in existence. Teleportation is already they're already starting to invent that. Yeah, that's already there. It's just a matter of, it's sort of like petrol, isn't it? Or electricity created from coal. You have the ability, the inventions, the creations, to not have to use any petrol or coal. But the reason you don't, obviously, is because big business doesn't make enough money. They haven't figured out how to make money from free energy yet, right? So that's why they're not allowing it out. But it will come out. It will. Perhaps not this year, in 2017, but it will come out. Because all of your consciousness will allow it to, as you awaken. So it's very interesting what will happen. So on one hand, you will have more people awakening and actually living in peace because they're connecting with themselves. And on the other hand, you'll have more people fighting in duality. Now, what keeps you as a light being in duality is anxiety and depression. And the anxiety comes from not acknowledging that you have a gift, even though it's awakened. So you're not directing that gift, you're not managing your gift. And the depression comes from connecting too much with this technology and allowing it to depress your energy rather than it harmonise with you. Right? It's very simple. Yeah, but of course, there is an answer to the depression, and that is the medication. And it's the same for anxiety. So who's winning? Remember we said, we talked, in 2001, we talked about the 5 families that govern the planet. And we talked about this quite a lot. And we said those planets were at that time singular, but we said they would join together, didn't we? And start working together to make themselves greater.
These families, I mean.
Yeah, so the financial family will join with the political arena, and science, medicine, religion, We said that they will all, education, they will all join together, and that's exactly what's happened. So they have joined together to control all of you.
Yeah.
And we are saying to you, the way to let go of that is to go into yourself.
Yeah.
To connect with yourself. To become unity consciousness within. Not be thinking about how much money I can make out of this. So, this year is the year of connection, and it's connecting to yourself. and then connecting to others that are connected or on their way to being connected.
Yeah.
So you can support each other.
Mm-hmm.
You will see that it is that division that we talked about that's happening is creating the middle pathway, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it doesn't even realize it's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So you've got those that are saying, oh, peace and love, and, you know, let's accept everyone, even those that rape children, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you've got the other side, which is full of anger and hatred and suppression and oppression and slavery, who are doing all the killing and everything else like that. So you've got two sides. You need to take the middle road, which is unity. It's not gender. It doesn't have a gender agenda. It doesn't hate, but it isn't in delusion. Because a lot of those that are you know, in what we call love and light, yeah, are in delusion. They're in delusion about what's really going on. So as long as I sit over here and I pray and I'm nice, I don't have to worry about anything. When you're in delusion and you're not seeing what your government's doing, what big pharmaceutical companies are doing, what the education system is doing, what the medical system is doing, you're not supporting the truth. You're supporting delusion.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a medication. You know, we've spoken about this before. You can meditate to medicate, or you can meditate to connect.
Mm-hmm.
You can exercise to medicate, or you can exercise to connect. It's up to you. It's your consciousness, it's your mind that directs your energy, that directs your thoughts, direct the planet, right? They direct your reality. But it's your soul that speaks to you on where to go. Your mind tells you how to get there.
Yeah.
And so when you have people who are delusional, yeah, and then you have people who are full of hate, well, you can't be on either camp.
Mm-hmm.
Because both of those realities are creating. You create whether... Energy is energy. You create whether you're angry or you're happy. You're still creating. So if you create... and we've spoken about this before, as a light being, the moment you go into anger, you're in the business of uncreating. You're only creating more anger. You're creating more devastation. If you create love and kindness towards yourself and towards others, or being neutral, then you're also creating that. But there's a difference between creating from light and being delusional.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we will be perfectly honest, we have people that come to us and ask us things like, is Archangel Michael with me all the time? Are my angels with me all the time? And they are very valid questions, and they are very important questions to people to know. However, we would say this: if you're only concentrated on that which is out of this world, then you're not participating in this world.
Mm-hmm.
That you are in. Right?
Yeah.
So, if you are in if you're sitting there thinking, okay, everything will be okay, and you're hiding instead of actually actioning that, it won't be okay. So, for instance, we'd have people say to us, why doesn't Spirit love me enough to give me lotto, to win lotto, so that I don't have to worry about money? If I'm a beautiful, advanced soul, and I'm a light being, and I need to, in order to contribute to the planet, I actually need to be at peace, and I can't be at peace unless I win lotto, because I'm currently in debt.
Yeah.
Well, we would say to that person, who put you in debt? Wasn't God. Right? You put yourself in debt, and now you're asking Spirit to get you out. That's a sort of like a child and a parent situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as a child and a parent situation, are you taking ownership of what you've created? And if you're not, then you're in delusion.
Yeah.
So, if you were to say, okay, I'm in this debt, I was silly, I didn't listen to my gut feelings, I knew it was wrong, but I thought it was going to work, what can I do to get myself out of debt? You can guarantee that every spirit around that person will support them.
Yeah.
But we cannot support delusion. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand.
So when you're in denial about who you are as a spirit, when you're demanding, oh, I have to win lotto, or I have to have this car, or I have to have this house because I'm such an evolved spirit, then in reality you're not so evolved. That's what we mean by delusional. Right? There's nothing wrong with saying everything will be all right. I trust in the light. Yeah, I trust in God. Everything will be all right. I trust that I will be led to the right place at the right time. I feel safe. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the correct way to go. What's wrong is if you are demanding things change, but you're not prepared to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like even think positively. So what will happen for many is they will start to feel the desire to connect with nature, to connect with similar soul groups, and with spirit more, so they will start to meditate more. Yoga is making an amazing comeback, actually. It's growing because people are wanting to connect with themselves. So there's something in their soul that says, connect with yourself, connect with me, connect with me. And that's what's going on. And that's going to get stronger and stronger. And you're also going to find that in amongst all of those, what's governing those families that we talked about, there are light beings within them that are the whistleblowers, that are shining the truth out for everyone to see. Oh, that's not very nice, won't be voting for them again, or we won't. People are voting with their wallets. They're saying, I won't buy anything from that company because they're using slave labour, or they don't treat their staff well, or they, they're not buying from them. So people are listening. And what they're not realising is there's more of you, light beings, than there are dark on the planet at the moment. There's a lot more. So your awareness is of utmost importance to your planet that you're currently residing on. Your ability to connect with yourself and become one is what will change things and turn things around. because you can see it's already started. That separation is getting wider and wider and wider. And as we said, we are not saying that you have to, be okay about bad things that are happening to people. You are allowed to express your feelings around that. If someone robs you, if someone hits you, or someone drives into you and you're upset and you're angry, you are allowed to let it out. The difference is you don't let it out on an innocent person. Yeah? You let it out by going to the gym or going for a run or screaming at the wind or hitting a pillow or crying and sharing it with someone. You let it out in that way, but you don't let it out for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't let it out to hurt another. You just simply let it out. If you want, scream it to God. God doesn't care. God's used to it. Right? Scream it out to God. I hate you. You did this to me. Well, they hear it all the time. So do something like that rather than get revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just let it out. It's good to know what's happening on your planet, but it's also good to seek out the good news as well as the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are plenty of amazing, beautiful things that are there for you to connect with. Like we said, there is going to be so many incredible inventions. The interesting thing is that the more they pollute you, we're talking about the systems, those families, the more they try to disconnect you, the more those that are in that fifth dimensional reality already in unity consciousness will bring out or become aware of things that can support your health, that can support your emotional and your mental well-being, that will enable you to stay connected. For instance, you've got these computers or the Wi-Fi, you've got things like Mimon products that turn that Wi-Fi vibration into a living vibration rather than a dead vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have things that will purify your water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got things that reactivate your food. You've got many things. It's a matter of where your priorities are and what you want to spend. Do you want to spend money on staying healthy, or do you want to spend money on hating and investing in, toxicity? It's entirely up to you. You can say, okay, let's all go to, let's say, a fast food place like McDonald's. That's very well known for its toxicity level within its food. So let's all go to McDonald's. It's going to cost us, a minimum amount for 4 people to eat.
Yeah.
Right? Could do that. Could actually take half of that money, buy some seedlings and start growing your own vegetables.
Yeah.
And eat vegetables. Eat rice, but make sure it's organic. Eat rice and vegetables. That doesn't cost much. It's not going to cost as much as a McDonald's for 4. But it depends on where your consciousness is at.
Yeah.
So.
And this Asiya is also, the drink is also like connecting with the fifth dimension, isn't it?
Well, it's life force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's activating your cells rather than killing your cells. Your cells are from Wi-Fi dying.
Mm-hmm.
From the chemicals in the sky dying, clumping together. You look at the epidemic of cancer, tumours, cancers, diseases. We won't even go into autism, but just cancer. Why do you think that is? Isn't it telling you something in your body is dying? You're dying. something is eating your cells, taking over your cell. Cancer is like a negative cell taking over your other cells, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So it is a life form within itself in a strange kind of way. It's like a black hole in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black hole consumes everything around it. That's what cancer does.
Mm-hmm.
So actually the cure for cancer, which they say is what? This, what is this called? This chemotherapy
Mm-hmm.
and radiation. It kills your good cells, right? As well as the cancer cells.
Exactly.
So it kills your good cells. So does that make sense to kill all the cells in your body
No.
and hope that you survive?
No.
It makes more sense to make the living cells stronger so that the dying cells get eaten up by that, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what that ASEA does.
Mm-hmm.
It activates your cells to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it has an effect on on a huge range of problems.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just attack one problem. It doesn't just help one problem. It reactivates your life force. Now, what they don't know about it, they're yet to know because it's fairly new, right?
Yeah.
But what they don't know, and they're yet to find out because they're still doing testing
Yeah.
on people who've been on it for a period of time. You know how we, and many like us, have talked about the 12-strand DNA?
Yeah.
And we've also talked about the fact that you had experiments done on you by starseeds in the time of Atlantis that took you down to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what that ASEA does is it starts to unravel the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it will start to activate the DNA to go 2 more strands.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
They will discover it. Now, you can start to activate your DNA through different healing techniques as well. Now, let's be clear about that. There are people that say that they can do it, and some can, some can't. And the reason we're saying this is this, because there are many people who are operating healing modalities from the mind. Yeah? Now that's limited. It will work on people who are currently residing in the 3rd and sort of halfway through the 4th. Yeah, it'll work really nicely for them.
Mm-hmm.
Their healing modalities, yeah, through the mind.
Yeah.
However, when you get just above halfway of the 4th and you're going towards the 5th and you're finding out about unity consciousness and you're finding out about soul's frequency, not gender frequency, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to understand more what the love vibration is, what the truth is, what not being a victim, removing yourself from separation, from duality. When you start to do that, healing modalities that operate from the mind will perhaps not work as well on you.
Yeah.
Right? Then you need to go to someone who is able to, a multidimensional being, an evolved soul, who is able to navigate not only the Akashic records, but the other frequencies within the universe to assist you. That sounds a little complicated.
Yeah.
We're trying to simplify it.
Yeah. But makes sense.
But it makes sense, right?
It's multidimensional, not
Yeah,
just mind.
that's exactly it. So sometimes when a person goes in and says with their mind, yeah, I can see a past life, I'm going to cut the cords, I'm going to heal it, but they're not able, because of their own being stuck in duality, yeah, they're not able to go into those other frequencies, and they haven't had the initiations. And we've said this so many times. You cannot get an initiation through an object or through a weekend course. It doesn't happen. Your initiations come through spirit, they are personal to you. And those initiations are usually initiations of honesty, integrity, compassion, and love.
Yeah.
Simple. So, if you are a multidimensional individual living in a physical body, and you have access to that, and you're acting off integrity, and you're not calling yourself a master, and you're not naming yourself Lord Metatron or, Shakti or something else. Now, the reason we're saying that is because that's the mind.
Yeah.
And the mind plays tricks on you and says, well, if you call yourself master, everyone will take you seriously.
Yeah.
And people will trust you and they will believe in you. That's not necessarily the case. Right? So if you can locate someone who has the ability, not calling themselves master, but can actually navigate those different dimensional realities, they can seriously help you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are moving into the fifth.
Yeah.
But look, there are so many people awakening in the second wave. We need so many healers to support them in their journey, that there are many who are operating from the mind that can help them. We're not saying they can't.
Yeah.
They can. They can help them. To a certain degree, they can help them beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the person is coming from the mind, it is the mind that directs the energy, absolutely. But if they don't understand those frequencies, they are limited within themselves.
They help to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Mm-hmm.
And we need a lot of healers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. But we would ask people to please, this whole thing around being a master is ego-driven. It truly is. We don't sit in spirit saying, oh, well, there's Master such and such, and there's Master, we don't do it. We feel reverence for those that are masters, but we don't call them that. There's a genuine, how can we say, you feel it. You know it in your beingness when you're in front of someone who has great knowledge. And so you have respect for them.
Yeah.
When you see the Dalai Lama, let's take the Dalai Lama, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who was incarnated with knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Someone who has a tremendous capacity to understand the dimensions and the realities. And unity consciousness is ingrained in the Dalai Lama. Yet the Dalai Lama will speak the truth about certain things, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even if they are confronting for others, he will say it. But does he call himself Master? Dalai Lama?
No.
Does he say that he is an authority? Does he come out and say, I am an authority, you have to listen to me because I know best?
No.
Never. He is always humble. So because of that humility that he comes out with and speaks with reverence for all living things, people admire him.
Mm.
People understand his vibration and his knowledge. They respect it. But he never at any point called himself an authority. That's what we mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot force people to acknowledge you by calling yourself a master. You can say, yeah, I'm good at that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have confidence in what you do because you've been doing it for a long time, or you're very passionate about it. You have a deep understanding of it. So, it's very interesting what's going to happen also, you know, with world leaders and things like this. You're going to see a lot of people moving to the right and then to the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Did you want to say anything about, because you mentioned before the voting systems, and we had these big elections in the States and also the Brexit referendum in the UK. Was that also some, I mean, you mentioned that a lot of elections are rigged.
Yes, but because this, in the States, this Mr. Trump was very clear
Mm-hmm.
about voicing that before the elections,
Mm-hmm.
they were vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
They were still rigged. There was still rigging going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Against him.
Against him, yes.
Mm-hmm. What about the Brexit?
Well, that was more misinformation, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the sense that they voted for exit.
Well, the thing is that it's the same in the States. There are those that get very sort of, how can we say, they strongly believe that they will win. They're very ego-driven.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe they don't have to worry because they're going to win. They've got everything in the bag. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit what happened.
Mm-hmm.
With the British exit. It was also that there are people, well, let's just take the two arenas, okay? A lot of the information, well, first we'll take the USA. A lot of the information that came out about Hillary came from her own camp, right? There were people who have worked for her and who are currently working for her that believe she would be definitely the wrong person as president. Yes. And they leaked this information to WikiLeaks. Right? So, and there are those also within that party that didn't want a woman to be the president. So they basically sabotaged her within her own group.
Yeah.
Right? And we spoke about that to some people, that she would be sabotaged by her own group. Right? So there were many that didn't want her to win in her own party. So that was part of it, a big part of it. As for the Brit exit, there were also those within the political arena that do not wish to be part of the European Union. So the information that was given to the general public was flawed. So they didn't really know. And look, they prey on that. Let's face it, they prey on it. They prey on ignorance. People not being informed. They prey on making things so wordy that people don't understand them. You know what that's like.
Who do you mean by they?
Well, the governments, the media, you know, they put things out that are easily misconstrued. They don't give all the information.
Do you believe that Brexit will happen, or do you think there will be a turnaround?
Well, there's a big push to make a turnaround, but we don't think that will happen. What we can say is this: there is a battle going on within the dark. They like to fight. So, let's look at, you say the world order or the Illuminati. There's many different names for it, right? They are fighting in amongst themselves, just like political groups are fighting in amongst themselves. Who wants to be the leader of the world order? Is it America? Is it England? Is it Europe? We don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the English wanted to get out because America is influencing the European Union.
Through
Right?
Angela Merkel.
That's right, and others. So America is influencing the European Union, and England was like, well, what happened to our world order? Yeah? Why is America suddenly getting in on all of this? We had our parts separated, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had our positions very clear, and now America changed the rules. So that's why there were those within England that said, we want to get out. Why? So they would destabilise America. The one world order of America, or the Illuminati, or whichever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So the dark is fighting amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of good concepts within the EU, right?
Well, of course, there is that veil of protection for smaller countries.
And also make it easier for people
to travel, etc. Yeah, there are some very good aspects with regards to the European Union. Don't think that the concept of letting in a lot of refugees isn't part of destabilising Europe
Mm-hmm.
and making those countries want to be separate again,
Mm-hmm.
to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If Europe wanted to come together, as a collective and collectively deal with your terrorist cells, etc., they could.
Mm-hmm.
But let's put it to you this way. If they do, those Arab countries have all bought arms from America, from France, from England, fighter jets, bombs, nuclear weapons, the works. If Europe turns around and says, we want all of these refugees and these terrorists out, do you think that the Arabs will attack Europe if they start killing their own to get them out?
Mm-hmm.
They will, yeah. So it was America that planned all of that because America wants to dominate. And that is why England removed itself. We tell you, there is a fight amongst the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you wanted to communicate to people via YouTube?
We would like to really remind individuals that, remind all of you actually, you are the creators on the planet. Do not be in duality. Stay connected to yourselves and connected to nature, and that will keep you in unity. And from there, you will create that vibration. You will make it stronger on the planet. And that will have to push out the darkness and the ignorance, the delusionals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in saying that a lot of those people who are in denial, are in survival mode. They're just surviving to put a roof over their head, to put food on the tables. They're in survival. So don't be judgmental against either group. We didn't say that to you to make you judgmental. We said it for clarity, so that you understand that there's a division going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of light beings that are sleeping in the delusion. They're sleeping in the delusion of ego. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm greater, whatever. They're in that delusion, and they're in denial around what's really going on. So that's why we're saying that. But if you can stay connected to your heart, remember we did that video about how to stay connected to the heart? We put that on. That's since we did that, look around. How many more people have come up onto YouTube and done living in your heart, staying in your heart, accessing your heart? We've been talking to you for years about this.
It's humming.
To just tune into your heart, to hum into it, to take your eyes, your breath, your awareness into your heart.
Physical heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a vortex there that's activating. It has to activate as a result of unity consciousness. Stay in that space. And if something comes into your reality that's horrible, ask for help. But don't ask for help from, why is this happening to me? Why did you let this happen to me? You know, this sort of thing. Say, ask for help from the reality of, what can I do right now to change this situation? How can I open myself right now to receive a different reality? Help me to do that from the perspective of self-responsibility. Because the moment you go into victim, and anger and all that, you're back in separation. The business of unity consciousness is very foreign to your mind and to the realities that you've lived throughout the lifetimes on earth. So it really isn't that you're going to wake up one morning and suddenly be in unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is in itself a journey, because you're battling with your mind. Your mind keeps telling you, separate, judge, criticize, don't accept, all of these things. Be a victim, be a conqueror. So it's putting you again in separation. Please, we're asking you, correct yourself when that happens. If you have a negative thought, cancel it. Correct yourself. Remember, ask and you shall receive. People are going to hideous states of beingness with that one. I want a new car, I want a new house, I want $1 million, I want to win lotto. That's not what ask and you shall receive is about. It's not about self-gratification and the ego. It's about self-responsibility. What do I need right now to see this from a different perspective? How can I move into another direction? I'm open to receiving a way of getting out of this. That is not being a victim. That is self-responsibility. Please remember this. Unity consciousness is about self-responsibility. It starts with you being at one, not with the outside world. And see, what's happening is you're talking about unity consciousness, or you're reading about it, or you're saying this is what you want, but you're wanting it from the outside.
Yeah.
But it has to start from within. This is the most important thing we can say to you right now. So, having said that, we will leave you in our love and our light and our truth and our blessings. We thank you for taking the time and the energy to listen to what we have to say at this moment, and we look forward to communicating to you again.